So we're gonna start a lesson on how to make a mask even if you don't have a sewing machine. The things you'll need is obviously some fabric, the pattern, some straight pins, a pair of scissors, and a needle and thread. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out a pattern on top of this pattern. We're gonna trace over, so we can make two patterns. And just trace. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea. And then you're gonna cut this piece out. And I've already cut out a couple of pieces to show you. We're gonna get 4. Okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down the fabric. And so here's a piece of fabric that we gave you. So you're gonna match the 2 corners together, or the 4 corners together rather. You're gonna fold it once that way. Smooth it out, and then you fold it again this way. And you're going to make sure that you get all the corners in line, right? Then you're going to start laying out the pattern. And the good thing about this fabric is there is no right side or wrong side. Now that's something that, you always have to be careful of in regular fabric because there's like a side that's not as vibrant as the other, but with hand loom, because it's yarn dyed, every side is the same. So you can really play with the pattern. What I do is I always mix the pattern up a little bit so that I can get as much out of it as I possibly can. And what you have to do is you have to make sure the straight edge is lining up with the stripe. And this is how I do it. You can play with the positioning to make sure all 4 get onto the fabric. You see there's plenty of room to cut in between these. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some straight pins in. Let's hold it in place. I pinned these 3 and I wanted to show you a second way to, if you don't have pins, then what I do sometimes is I made a pattern out of a piece of like a folder cover, and you can actually just trace it if you don't have If you don't have pins. This is like a fast, easy way to do it too. The only thing is, make sure that when you're cutting it, it at least all stays together because you're actually cutting 4 layers at one time. So I'm going to put a pin here to make sure it's going to stay in place. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And because I put this on a fold, the straight part on a fold, I'm gonna have to open these up and cut through these as well, the fold. So now I have 4 pattern pieces right there. So that's equals 1 mask. This is 1 mask, another mask, another mask. Okay, now we're gonna start with the sewing part. So go ahead and put your thread into your needle. And if you don't know how to do a knot, there's a little trick that my mom taught me. You take your thread, you wrap it around your finger, and then you roll it and pull it through, and it creates a huge knot. So that's always very secure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of the 4 pieces, and we're going to make a seam right where it says, I can even like draw it out with my pen, if I can find my pen, here we go. Like where the seam needs to go, just like a little guide. And I'm using blue thread only because I want to be able to show you what it looks like, but if I was doing this for real, I would use white or red thread or pink thread. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and do something called the back stitch, and you put your needle through the first time, just like a regular knot. Then you go back 1 and you pull it, and it's like a little hopscotching. So you're going to go past the first one, going to keep going, and you're going to follow the curve I messed that up a little bit, but I'm gonna just recover. I'm gonna go back a little, then a little bit ahead. I'm gonna try and keep the same distance going all along this curve. And why I'm doing this kind of stitching is because it gives, it's more secure than just doing a straight stitch. Going back a little, going a little ahead. And what I also forgot to tell you that I use a double thread, not a single thread, just for more strength.